Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. To every citizen of our land, that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country.
President-elect Donald Trump. Those 4 words encapsulate the past 2 years of campaigning and the next 4 years of governing. Mr. Trump delivering a speech in the wee small hours of this morning, declaring victory and calling for reconciliation. Welcome to America Talks Live, Hour 2, where our most important program content comes from you. Your comments, questions, and observations phoned in to 1-877-639-7629. That's 1-877-NEWSMAX. We'll talk about the election and its aftermath with the cop and the consultant. But first, from our Newsmax TV newsroom, Miranda Kahn has this update. Miranda?
Yeah, thanks, JD. President Obama congratulates Donald Trump on winning the presidency as Hillary Clinton concedes the election.
The point, though, is that we all go forward with a presumption of good faith in our fellow citizens.
I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans.
President Obama says that he invited Trump to the White House this week to ensure a successful transition between the two administrations. Meanwhile, current House Speaker Paul Ryan is also congratulating the new president-elect.
He turned politics on its head, and now Donald Trump will lead a unified Republican government.
As you just heard, Ryan called for the country to unite behind the new president. Several other top Republicans also congratulated Donald Trump, including former GOP presidential candidates John Kasich and Jeb Bush, neither of whom, as you may recall, supported Trump during the general election. The Investor's Business Daily tracking poll was once again one of the only polls to get the election right. Its final poll had Trump leading Clinton by 2 points. This is the 4th election in a row it had the most accurate poll. And for much more election recap, please visit Newsmax.com. I'm Miranda Kahn. For right now, let's send it back over to JD.
Thanks very much, Miranda. Now for more on all of this, we're pleased to be joined by the consultant and the cop, or as we call them, the team from Lethal Weapon, The Golden Years. Screen left to you, but to my immediate right is political commentator and Newsmax insider Clarence McKee. Clarence, now the president of McKee Communications Incorporated, and at the far end of the anchor desk, retired Florida police detective Tom Whatley. Gentlemen, Donald Trump also expressed his desire to tap into the potential of every American during his upcoming term as president. Let's look and listen.
I've spent my entire life in business looking at the untapped potential in projects and in people all over the world. That is now what I want to do for our country. Tremendous potential. Every single American will have the opportunity to realize his or her fullest potential. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer.
Now, I don't know if it's the post-election afterglow, but the alphabet networks, their cable cousins, most people agreed that that was Donald Trump's best speech to date, that victory speech. Yes. Clarence, you share that opinion?
Definitely. He's calm, cool, collected, looked like a leader on the stage of the world. Speaking on the stage of the world, this was the Brexit moment for him. This man came aboard against all odds, totally devastated the media that was against him, totally destroyed the GOP establishment, and really his election wipes out any so-called Obama legacy. He did a great job, and he was very gracious as a presidential candidate, and now he's president-elect should be.
And so often in campaigns, and this is the one perhaps positive legacy of the whole consultant age. Sorry about that, pal, as a communications consultant, but you know, so much in politics has become packaged. But I thought there were two moments in this campaign, last night, but then when he went to Mexico, standing there as if he were the president, an incredible moment. Ironic that it would come in Mexico, with the country that has created so many challenges. Tom, your reflection on last night and the campaign overall.
Well, the campaign overall, I think what we saw throughout this whole election is not the Republican Party won last night. I think the Trump Party won last night. Now, I think the Republicans are now going to have to adjust to Trump, not the other way around. But he's also going to have to work very closely with Congress, because you're going to still have that sect that's over in the corner, the hard right, that's going to really resist him a little bit. But I think they're going to have to come together. But I believe this is the Trump Party.
Well, and it is often the case, to the extent that I know Michael Reagan, were he here, would say, Donald Trump is not Ronald Reagan.
Right.
But to this degree, just as in the same way in 1980, when Ronald Reagan finally roped in the Rip-On Society and the guys on the Republican left, and yes, so to speak, there is a Republican middle ground to left, along with his supply side, tough on national defense social conservatives, a president's persona, because he's the titular head of the party, does come to dominate the party. Now, to that end, it's very interesting. I want you to look this morning at a speech Paul Ryan gave, a couple of hours ago. Listen to his words, but take a look at the speaker's face during these remarks earlier.
This is the most incredible political feat I have seen in my lifetime. Donald Trump heard a voice out in this country that no one else heard. He connected in ways with people no one else did. He turned politics on its head. And now, Donald Trump will lead a unified Republican government.
I look at Paul, and of course I've known him for years, since he was a staffer to then Congressman Mark Newman. And I can tell the Speaker of the House is more than a little dismayed that he is no longer the most prominent and powerful Republican in the country. And he's gone from the political pinup of the Kemp kids and the K Street bunch to a guy who has to assist the president. Now, in terms of real politics, you can see he's biting back the bile. I'm sorry. I can see it on his face. I know the guy. But what can help with a guy like Ryan when you ask him what time it is and he tells you how to build a watch? The perfect assignment for him, as former chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, as Speaker of the House, he gets together with Kevin Brady and the doctors, because there are several Republican doctors in the House, that Obamacare repeal they can get to work on. In my mind, Clarence, that's the low-hanging fruit for the new unified Republican majority to move on, as they say at the hospital, stat.
Exactly. You've got Obamacare right off the top. That's one of the reasons that Trump won this thing. You've got the situation coming in where Obama, his whole legacy is destroyed. The stimulus, that's the blow up. But Obamacare, then the Supreme Court, it's going to be first 100 days of the executive orders, going to be a good deal for him. And Mr. Speaker has to come along, because he wasn't on the team for a long time. So now in the sixth inning, he's jumping aboard to hit the home runs for the new president.
You know, we were busy here with our own election coverage last night, but I'm told by several that Karl Rove appeared on another network saying how Donald Trump owes Paul Ryan for Wisconsin. Now, pardon me, Tom, but in the time-honored tradition of the Southland, I think the Speaker has that bass-ackward. Right. Don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, I do believe so, and I never saw Wisconsin coming. I don't think any of the pundits, the experts, the novelists like me could actually envision that we would be able to break that blue wall up there in Michigan and Wisconsin. So, yeah, he did have it bass-ackwards.
Well, we cleaned it up for family television, and we welcome your distinctive characterizations, again, within the bounds of propriety, at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. The overwhelming message, and I think were we to really get out and poll test the way that Luntz and other guys do, I think the needle would shoot through the roof. And despite the bombast, and despite some of the things that were attention garnering and gathering during the campaign, when Donald Trump said this will be an administration that will put Americans first and operate in the interest of America without apology. That worked, and he said he offered a variation of that last night in his victory speech. Let's look and listen.
America will no longer settle for anything less than the best. We must reclaim our country's destiny and dream big and bold and daring. We have to do that. We're going to dream of things for our country, and beautiful things and successful things once again.
Clarence, I hear that, and I think back what a stark difference with Mr. Obama's stimulus. Kind of combine those words there, which was really just a sop to the union thugs.
Yeah,
the Obamulus, exactly. Yeah, not shovel ready, except shoveling the dough into the union coffers. This guy is a builder, and to the extent in Old Testament scripture, what did Nehemiah do? He built the wall. Trump is going to be a builder. The infrastructure is one thing. He's going to get Republicans to come around on spending on those worthwhile projects where it's needed.
He is, but you know, I think with on January 20th after 12 noon, when one party is leaving the White House, I think what we're going to see is that's still going to be for years to come the most powerfulest Democrat in the United States, and he's going to be looking over his shoulder, and he's going to have to be very careful about how Obama goes around, because he's going to do everything he can in the next 2 years to try and do something with the Congress and the Senate. So he's got to be mindful of that you know, they've got to keep everybody in office to get this stuff done as well.
Well, and understand, now it's going to be interesting tomorrow, that first transition meeting. But Barack Obama has never internalized a lesson. He still, in his comments today, thinks it does not apply to him. So that is going to be very interesting to watch how that comes down. Sure. Clarence, do you agree that basically Obama will sit there and snipe for the next 4 years as the former president?
He's going to be living in Washington, D.C. That's the conflict right there, I'm sure. But the big thing about this election, the big lesson is how the major media, the pollsters, and the pundits missed it. They have no connection or any sense of feeling of the forgotten Americans that the president-elect's talking about. They just look down on them, the deplorables, and they don't. People who make maybe $60,000 a year, they don't know what it's like to be a coal miner.
And one thing about it, whatever your economic level, we can't purchase time. We can step away for a second, holding accountable to time. Back with more in your calls as we continue.